Welcome to BPH Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as BPH on Ravelry, Instagram, and YouTube. Today is Thursday, the 26th of April, 2018, and this is episode number 7. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. How are you guys doing? I am freezing all of a sudden. I came over to sit in my podcast corner, and now I'm so cold. But other than that, I'm doing pretty good. It is officially spring for me because my sister and I went walking at one of the metro parks in the area on Monday, so that was really lovely. And other than that, it's just been pretty much same old, same old. I have an announcement that I forgot to make on last week's podcast. So this is the Con Pieto shawl by Jack Beck. Jack has very graciously donated 3 copies of this pattern, and there's a giveaway thread in the Ravelry group, which is BPH Crafts. My end still isn't woven in and probably won't ever be. But yeah, so there's 3 pattern copies up for grabs. I will be drawing for that next week when I record. So head on over. There's a link in the show notes to that. So that's this shawl right here. It's a really light, springy type weight shawl, so really good for that. My cat is apparently just gonna climb on everything and make everything make sounds. Sorry about that. So this week, other than the giveaway, I think that's all of like the news that I have for you. So let's get into what I've been working on. And it must be getting close to the end of the month because I have 3 finished objects. And I unofficially have a 4th finished object because last week I was telling you, I think, about how I went to Joann's and I wanted to design my own class. So I knit a single sock for a sample, like a shorty sock. So I knit that this week also, but I don't have that with me. So first up, most epic finish. I have the Even Star, which is a pattern by Susan Pandorf, and it is blocked and ready to wear to the wedding this weekend. I only did beads on half of it, and the only difference, which you can't tell from the beaded side, but you might be able to see right there, the beads hang down a little bit lower, even though it is folded in the direct center. So the added weight pulls it down more, but that doesn't bother me. I think it will still lay very nicely. And I forgot what I was going to say. I don't know, but it doesn't bother me. I think it still looks nice and intentional, and it is pretty big. I should have taken a picture of it before I blocked it. I could block it bigger. This would definitely block larger, but I limited myself to the blocking mats that I have, just to that size. And also, I don't really need anything bigger than this because this is big enough to cover all of the parts of my body that my dress won't cover perfectly. So I think it's really lovely. I have this stitch marker in here, so let's see if I can show you what I worked from. So last week it looks like I had done 1.5 pattern repeats without beads. So I did the other 26.5 pattern repeats without beads this past week. Non-beaded knitting goes so much faster than beaded knitting. The beads are lovely though. I'm glad that I did them on the half, but I don't think that I needed them on the second half. I'm really, really pleased with it. I knit mine on US size 2, 2.75 millimeter needles. I used Classic Elite Yarns Silky Alpaca Lace in the colorway 1976. No, that's a lie. 2458 is the colorway. And then I have this ball left over from knitting the border. What do you guys do with your lace weight leftovers? Because I have a very small stash of them, but I don't know what to do with them because, you know, the fingering weight leftovers I make into a bajillion things, and I just don't make enough of anything else to have leftovers, but I don't know what to do with my lace weight leftovers. And then the black is Cascade Yarns alpaca lace, and it's 100% baby alpaca. So, and it's color number 1406. So that's my even start. It is finished. It is lovely. I'm really, really pleased with it. I'm pretty proud that I got it done before the wedding, which was my goal since the beginning of the year, which is why I gave myself so long to do it so I wouldn't have to stress over it. Yeah, I'm really, really excited about it. And it's finished, and now I can get back to doing all of the things that I put off working on so that I could work on my even start instead. Other things that are finished. This is still quite wet because I soaked it. I soaked it last night with the intent of blocking it this morning, or with the intent of blocking it last night and then forgot about it. So I pulled it out this morning to block. So this is the string band. And last week I was at this stitch marker and I did all of the rest of the body and the ribbing. And I picked up and did this button band in ribbing also. And I made the cord for it. So now I just need to wait for it to dry, and it looks quite long. But they always look pretty long. And then that's because it's a really slouchy hat. And then, so this is finished, except I have to actually put the cord through the tubing, and that's it. Everything's woven in. Buttons are obviously sewn on. It's a pattern by Stephen West. I knit mine on smaller needles because my gauge is looser than the pattern calls for. I knit mine on US 1 2.25 millimeter needles and US 3 3.25 millimeter needles. The black yarn is Premier Yarns Serenity Sock in black, and the colorful yarn is a drops yarn. I don't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but it is in the show notes, and it's colorway 09. So I almost pulled out this band because it is very, very bright. Compared to the rest of the hat, like there's just this line right here that's the same color. So I almost pulled it out and went with a darker portion of the yarn, but then I decided that I would just let it be a huge accent piece, and if Becca doesn't like it, she can always put the buttons on the back of the hat and just wear it where you can't see them. And then the third thing that I finished is the pair of Maud socks, which is a pattern by General Hog Buffer, and these are also still quite wet. So let's see. Last week I was here on both of the socks, so I've worked all the way down the foot for both of them. And as you can see, they have a cable pattern running down the tops of the foot on both sides. I did not go back to the pattern to look and see if there was a patterned toe because I didn't want to. These are men's socks. I don't know. Feel like that's too fancy. I would like to make the Maud socks again in the future for myself, do them longer, and then go ahead with the pattern toe because I like fancy socks. What else can I tell you about this? The yarn is Patton's Croy in the Tourmaline Stripes colorway. I used US size 1 2.25 millimeter needles. This stitch marker is here because I was working these 2 at a time last week. You saw that. And then I needed that knitting needle for this hat to do the other ribbing. So I put one sock on DPNs to hold and then used my 9-inch size 1 circular to finish the other foot. So I had stitch markers to show me where I had taken out the size, the long circular, the 32-inch circular. But I've already pulled it out of this sock. So these are finished. They just need to dry, and that is 3 projects finished this week. That's pretty exciting. I'm pretty proud of that. And hopefully next week I'll also have 3 finished, because it will be the end of the month, / the beginning of a new month. So works in progress. I have been working on my design socks. I'll show you those first because I'm really excited about them. I think I might finish the second sock tomorrow. I'm still pretty close to the beginning of it, but very exciting. So I didn't work on it for 3 days, I want to say, this past week, because I just didn't want to brain that much to figure out how to reverse the pattern for the other leg. It wasn't hard, but I did have to rip it out 3 times. But I don't know if that's because the pattern itself is not overly complicated. But I woke up at 4 o'clock this morning and I was like, let me just work on my design sock, because I already had the cuff finished. I did the cuff in the movie theater before I worked on the string band hat in the movie theater this weekend when we went and saw The Cat Returns, which was okay. I had to leave the movie at a pretty important part because Mara decided that was when she needed to go to the bathroom. So that probably detracted from my interest in the movie. It wasn't bad. I would watch it again. I just don't feel the need to go buy the DVD right this second to watch it again. Anyway, so I finished the cuff in the movie, and then I didn't touch it until this morning. And then I tried the pattern and had a couple hiccups. I only had to rip it back 3 times though, so that's not so bad. And one of the times it was only 1 round needed to be tinked back, so that's not so bad. But now I have the pattern established. I just need to knit a few repeats, do the heel, do the foot, but the heel and foot are the same on both socks. So really I just need to type this up and get it out to test knitters. I only have 1 person who volunteered so far. I will be putting a call out on Instagram probably once I get both socks finished. But if you're interested, I am hoping to type up this pattern today while this is in the editing software doing the things that it does. But if not, by the end of next week for sure. I will be traveling this weekend, so that throws things off a little. What else about this sock? So it is knit in Target in the round. I'll actually just show you what's going on here because I'm so close to being done and hopefully nobody stealed it. So it takes just a little bit of yarn in a fancy color and travels across the leg in kind of like a little bumpy rainbow effect. And then there's ribbing in the main color. So the yarn that I'm using is Leading Men Fiber Arts Showstopper in London Fog and Nooch Fiber, it's either Midtown or Morningside. It's the one that's 75/25. And this colorway is unresolved and I love it. So I need this color in everything, like in every base. I think that I would really like it in like a big cowl for wintertime. So I'm thinking of doing that. I almost bought, it doesn't matter to you now because it's over, but Mariana, one of the dyers, her birthday was this week and they had a 25% off coupon going from Monday to Wednesday, and it was very hard not to like order all of the things, but I had to restrain because I have some things coming up. Anyway, for the second sock, before I started knitting it, I measured out 20 yards on my knitting knotty and then rewound it on the cake so that I can make sure that I have some sort of idea of how many yards I'm using for the contrast color, so that I can put that in the pattern, because my whole idea is that you can just use a little bit, like a mini skein or like a large mini skein, large-ish. I don't know, 20, so that would be 40 yards total. That's not a huge mini skein. That's only like 10 grams. But just so that I can have an idea specifically to tell people of what they need. So yeah, hopefully get that out to testers soon. And last week I was on the first sock, and this is where I was. So I knit up the foot. The next day I finished the sock on Friday, and then cast on the second one on Saturday, did the ribbing on Sunday, and then didn't touch it again until this morning. Also worked on my Sarah. Oh, and I'm knitting those socks on US 1 2.25 millimeter needles, and using a 9-inch circular with bamboo tips. So I've also been working on my Sarah, which is a pattern by Laura Ayler. Last week I was here, so I've worked down that much. I think I've about doubled the length of it. Let's fold and see. Yeah, I'm like 2 rows shy of having doubled the length. I split for the sleeves. Those are off now. I am in the waist decrease section. And now that I'm out of the shoulder shaping and the neck shaping and all of that, it's going so much faster. But I'm finding that the needles hurt my hands. I think it's the size of the needles hurt my hands because I am much more frequently a small gauge knitter. So even though these are only US 7s, which I think is a 4.5 millimeter needle, they feel huge in my hands, and I can only work a row or 2 at a time, and then I get hand fatigue. And so I just work on something else small for a few minutes, and then I can go back to this. It's not like I have to only do a row or 2 a day and then come back to it, but it feels like slow going, but I know this will be finished by the end of the month because it's only the 26th, which gives me like 4 more days. Not a problem. So here it is. The yarn that I'm using is Knit Picks. I want to say it's Stroll Worsted in Canopy. I assume it's in my show notes though. So what else can I tell you about the sweater? I don't know. I was wearing my other Sarah this morning, but then because I woke up at 4 and I was like, oh, I'm not going to do anything today. I'm just going to record my podcast. And so I put on my Totoro dress and my Sarah, and then I was like, you know what? Let's go to the gym today. Even though I didn't want to go to the gym, I felt guilty because I haven't been to the gym all week. I did go for a 6-mile walk on Monday, but then nothing really active since then. So I made myself go to the gym, and this is what I wore to the gym. So no sweater for you. So none of that actually matters. You're welcome for a tangent. And then the other thing that I'm working on is my painted tiger fiber. This is BFL silk. I have finished all of the singles and I am now plying. So I think this is the largest ply ball that I have left. I've commandeered my son's Easter basket to use as a spinning basket because I wanted it, and he wasn't actually using it for anything. So after this, I have this ball of fiber, which is comparable in size. And then I have 2 very small quantities. Actually, it's not. It's this ball of yarn will be much smaller than this. And I've already plied about half of this since yesterday. And then it will be what's on this spindle, so not very much, and what is on this spindle, also not very much. So I'm getting really, really close to finishing. I think I might actually finish all of my crafting goals this month. Wouldn't that be crazy? Yes, it would. And also exciting. So I'm working away on that. And then I don't have a plan for the finished yarn because I very rarely use my hand spun. I gift it a lot, so I don't know what this yarn is going to be when it grows up. It's been such a long time since since I spun on this that I don't know if you can even see this, but it's a different color in the center. This purple is just the outside. I'll put a picture up right now of the fiber, and it goes from a yellow through a pink to this purple. So I don't know what it's going to be when it grows up, but hopefully next week it will be washed and thwacked and you can see all of the colors. This week's modular spotlight is Hexapuffs. The pattern that I use is Beekeeper's Quilt by Tiny Owl Knits, and I am making this blanket for my son for high school graduation. So I have a little bit of time because he's still in elementary school, but I knew I was going to need a lot of time because when I started this, I was so good. I think I was making a hexapuff a day approximately, and now not so much. They're okay. They're just, I don't know. I don't know why I'm not out of love with them. I just don't work on them that frequently. But I have made several since I started the podcast back up. So this is the Red Wing Blackbird that I made the How Come This Blood socks out of. This is actually I found a child sock that didn't have a match when I was matching socks. And it was way too small for everybody in our house. I made these socks for Gabriel. These are the first socks that I ever made for Gabriel. And I made them when he was like 3. So it's making me all like, oh, nostalgic. I ripped the sock and I used it to make mitered squares and also this hexapuff. So that is that. And it was a Lion brand, what is it, Sock Ease sock? I don't remember the colorway. This is a mini skein from a mini skein. This is a Knit Picks Hawthorne. This is also a Knit Picks Hawthorne. I used this to make a hat, and I'm going to be making booties out of it next month. And then this one was a dog sweater. This is Premier Serenity Sock Violas, and I have made multiple things out of this, including my sample sock for Joanne. And this is Undead Yarns Vampire sock in the Jaws colorway. So I'm slowly making progress on my hexapuffs. I didn't, for this entire month and part of last month, work on modular projects at all because I was really trying to do the Even Star and my other 6 projects because my other 5, because I really did want to get all 6 of them done this month. But I really needed to get the Even Star done because it's the only actual deadline that I had. So now that I'm finished with the Even Star, I have been working on more modular projects. I finished 3 or 4 yesterday. Not projects, like pieces. So I did 4 mitered squares yesterday. So I'm going to get back into the swing of that. And then I have a new thing to show you. So Instagram gets me sometimes, and I forget her name from Fate's Thread. She posted a picture of a Zelda bag, and my sister is obsessed with Zelda. And we were sitting in the school parking lot before what were we there for? An award ceremony, I want to say. So we're sitting in the car and I saw the picture and I was like, oh, this is cool. And I showed my sister and she was like, well, I kind of need it now. So then we went to the shop and I was scrolling through to find the bag and I found another Zelda print. So I was like, oh, look at this. And she was like, well, I probably need both. And then I saw the bag that I'm going to show you and we both wanted one. So then we were up to, it's free shipping on orders over $100. So I was like, well, we're only like $15 away. That's only one more bag. You should probably get it because otherwise you're wasting money on shipping. So I'm a really great enabler to other people. So my sister got 3 Zelda bags. But what I got is this, which I haven't opened the packaging yet. My sister, though, has opened all of her bags and has been using them because they came on Friday last week, like I thought they would. So there's the little tag for Fate's Thread. And this is a Sailor Moon bag. It is a sock-sized drawstring bag. I love Sailor Moon. We used to, when we were in middle school and high school, there was something on Cartoon Network called Toonami. I don't know if they still do that. We don't have cable because we don't watch cable. So every day after school, we would watch Sailor Moon, even though there were only, I think there's 300 episodes total. But in the US, they only showed some, like the first half of them, because in later seasons, it got questionable for the time then because there were like transgendered characters and stuff. So they didn't show that. So they would repeat every few months. They would start from the beginning and show those. And we would still watch the entire thing through again. And I think we saw the whole, like everything that they showed on Toonami. I think we saw all of those episodes like 6 times each or something. And okay, so we were really big nerds. Tangent. About Sailor Moon, and we found a magazine that was all about Sailor Moon. I don't know if it was a specific issue. I don't remember exactly. So it talked about each of the episodes and gave a little description. And one of the episodes in the seasons that they showed on Toonami, they actually didn't air because it was all about going to the beach or something. And Cartoon Network didn't air it because it was too sexualized, I guess. All the girls in the swimsuits. I don't know. So Hulu has Sailor Moon. I don't know how much it has, but we just got Hulu. So right now, my sister and I are we're marathoning America's Next Top Model because why not? We're on season 3, and we've both already seen season 3, so we already know who wins, and the only show that we have, or the only episode we have left, is the finale. I can't talk. So we're going to watch that soon, and then we're going to work our way through America's Next Top Model, but then we're going to watch Sailor Moon. Or I might just watch Sailor Moon by myself. Hard to tell. So anyway, back to this bag, which is lovely. It is sock size, but I feel like it could definitely hold my design projects. I think it could hold like 2 to 3 pairs of socks going at once. It's lined with interfacing. It has this little bottom so it can stand on its own. So that's a nice little feature. Drawstrings to pull closed. I honestly don't love drawstrings. Personal preference, I like zippers better, but I'm not opposed to using a drawstring. And look at how cute these characters are. So my favorite is Sailor Jupiter, and Sailor Jupiter wears pink and green, which I just so happen to be wearing. I really only like pink with green or with black. Otherwise, I find that pink is not an appropriate color in life in general. Mara had some pink things, but I never bought her pink things. That's what the grandmas did. That's what they were for. I'm not opposed to it. Now, if she wants like a pink something, I get it for her, but she's much more into purple. But I'm just not a pink person. So I do like pink and green together though, and I just think that all of these characters are so cute. They're, for those of you who don't know, I'll just name them for you because why not? So this is Sailor Mars, and that's my sister's favorite character. This is Sailor Mercury. This one is Sailor Moon. You see her with her meatballs in her hair. And then Sailor Venus. I want to get a whole Sailor Venus for you. So she's right there. And then the cats are Luna is the little black one, and the little white one is Artemis. I hope Hulu has a lot of the seasons because, spoiler alert, Luna and Artemis have a baby, I think, or something, and I want to see that kitten. So yeah, I'm excited to put this bag into rotation next month. Okay, so I feel like this has been a pretty short episode, so let's look at all the things that I want to make next month because they're here on my shelf. I want to make a little cross stitch. It's a little cup of tea. So I want to make that because I want to cross stitch, but I can't find any of my current works in progress for cross stitch because I have children who touch things. So that's frustrating. So in addition to that, I will be making another pair of Croy socks because at the beginning of the year, I pulled out 4 or 5 sets of Croy that I was like, I want to knit these this year. And this is the last set of balls that I had pulled to make this year. I will probably make more Croy socks because I have them, but I have the yarn for them. But this is the last of the 4 that I definitely wanted to get through this year. So I'll be making those. And this is the Woodsy stripe colorway. I will also be making, I think it's called the Cheshire Cat hat. It's a free pattern. Well, it's not even a pattern. It's like a free recipe on Ravelry. And I will be making that for my best friend. She wants to wear it during festival season this year. So she bought the yarn, and this is her like main fancy color. I'm pretty excited to use it. It's Thick and Thin by Buttercream, and then there's 2 Hometown USA's by Lion Brand. What is this? Miami Seafoam. Sorry, I'm reading upside down. And Baltimore Bay is the darker one. And then this Bernat Roving in Putty. That's going to be like the color around her face. And then I'll be using these for the other colors. And the important thing about the ears is that they have little tufts of fur coming off. So you'll be seeing that next month. I have this yarn pulled to make baby booties for my son's 2nd grade teacher because she is pregnant. And then I was totally bullied by Allison into designing a baby blanket for cake yarns, like you know what I'm talking about, the stripy cake yarns. Well, I'll show you in a second, in case you don't. So she told me that I should design one and use the border that I used in the, I'm looking right at it, Undercover by Beta Jessic. I didn't use the border in that pattern. I made my own border and kind of engineered mitered corners and stuff. So I will be using some Bernat Value that I found on clearance in this beautiful, I actually got 2 colorways. I got kind of a boy-ish colorway and a girl-ish colorway, and then I'm going to use this brown for both of them because it matches really well with those for the borders. So I'll be designing a blanket next month. How exciting is that? I also want to do a spinning project next month because now I'm back into the habit of it, and I don't want to get out of the habit of it, and I do have a whole bunch of projects. So I did give myself the option of starting a new project once I finished one of my old UFOs, but I think instead next month I am going to attempt to finish my, Gourmet Stash Horror Cruxes. I hope you made something fantastic with your sticks and string, and I will see you next week. Bye!